But what that's happening to me in my virtual realities already, even before they manifest. So I'm thinking, that's interesting. Because it seems like it's already commonplace in my life, in my virtual realities. So I told my inner being, well, let's just go for the joy. Let's just not focus on, I want this and I want this, I want that. I just want to be a happy little camper.
What is it that you do want? Let's talk some specifics.
I just want to be happy and not be drawn to that I have to be successful and in the eyes of the world, because it's so relative. And then I get lost and I feel so insignificant when I look around and I see people, brain surgeons and all this good stuff, that seem to be contributing, and I'm sitting here saying, I just want to be happy. I feel like maybe there's something wrong with just not really having a passion. Like I've known since I was 3 years old, I want to be a doctor. Well, that sort of thoughts have never come to me.
Well, we have to say to you that we see a lot of physical friends who are working with everything they've got to contribute in a powerful way, who have managed to get themselves into a place of such disconnection that they have no access to the power, and therefore they have very little to contribute. In other words, do not underestimate the power of connecting to Source.
That's what I need to be clear on, Abraham, because I really don't have any lofty goals other than to be happy and just flow. And
what do you think that Jesus meant when he said the meek shall inherit the world? He meant, in a place of non-resistance, all thing desired flow. You see? And so
it's okay just to have a goal. I want to be happy and to sit here and just flow with the energy.
Well, we hope so, because it is the body of our work.
because I know that I'm different than most people, because they have such lofty goals, and I'm sitting here and I just want to be happy and just be a source of support for anybody who needs me. And I do find a lot of people see that, and they come and ask my opinion because they know it's so different than what they're going to hear from everybody else. So I think I've been a mediator throughout my life for two opposing forces, whether it be my family, at work, anywhere. I just seem to be
you see that
mediator.
There are a lot of different ways of approaching life. There are a lot of people that are approaching life in lots of different ways, and we are not for a moment calling any of them wrong. But never question the value in your quest for joy, because your quest for joy is the most important thing that you could ever want and then achieve, because that's your alignment to Source from which all things flow, you see. So you've got some choices. You can be not sure of what you're really about and feeling ornery about it, or you can not be sure of what you're really about and feel hopeful about it. You can feel not sure of what you're about and feel certain about it, feel optimistic about it, or you can not be certain about what you're doing and feel pessimistic about it. In other words, you have so much leeway and so much latitude here. And as you leave this gathering today and you decide, I am the creator of my own experience, and I create by molding energy, and my awareness of the energy that I'm molding is by the emotion that I'm feeling, and it is my dominant intent to feel good. No matter where I go, no matter what I'm doing, no matter who I'm doing it with, my now, which is the juncture where me meets me, is all about how good can I feel now, how good can I feel now, how good can I feel now. Because life is right now. It's not going to be when Esther gets the monster bus. And it's not going to be when you figure out how you're going to get more money. And it's not going to be when you get your relationship squared away with your mate. In other words, it's not going to be then. Life is right now. It's right now. And so when you decide to take the bull by the horns and you decide that you're going to feel better now, not the best you've ever felt, but better now. My dominant quest is the feeling of relief that I always get when I release a little resistance and get more in sync with who I am. And as you play this game more and more, the material things matter less and less. The moment to moment to moment experiences become what life is about. And you just get so you relish it. You're in a restaurant devouring the nice person that's waiting on you. Or you're in traffic enjoying the person sitting next to you, enjoying his music. And as you make eye contact and he winks and you say, I'm happy too. And he says, isn't life good? And then he says, I like your car. And then you say, I like your car too. And then he says, isn't this a beautiful day? And you say, don't we live in a wonderful time? And he says, don't you just love life? In other words, these kinds of interchanges are taking place all over the planet between you and others, you see. And that's what life is. It's just those moments of conspiring to acknowledge that well-being is the order of the day. We want so much for you to step back a little bit and continue to remind yourself that no matter where you're standing in your physical point of attention or perception, that well-being is outrageously more than any pocket of not well-being, no matter what. Your planet, in your technological age, have people that scour the planet looking for things that are wrong, and they bring them to you in such disproportion to the well-being that abounds. And we know that there are many people that are standing in a place where they could listen to us all day, and all they would come away from feeling is Abraham is not in touch with the real world. And we would say, and we never will be in touch with that world. Because when you get in touch with the things that are wrong in your world, you attune yourself to a vibration that does not allow the well-being that you so much want and deserve. So now you're at the point where you can't have it both ways. You can't have your foot in both worlds anymore. You know too much. You cannot commiserate with people that are worrying about this and that without bringing yourself to a torturous awareness that in this moment you are depriving yourself of energy that you now know is available to you. You can't go back. You can't touch the sweetness of connection to source energy and ever again be happy in any vibration that is less than that, you see. And so that's why we offer process after process. We want so much for all of you to come to this place where you are not beating up on yourself for negative emotion. You go to your classroom, and when the students jump through the hoops in just the right way, you give them an A. And if they don't do so well, you give them a B and then a C. And if they really don't do well, you give them a D or an E. Is anyone giving Fs these days? In other words, here is this spectrum of grades. And then you sort of equate that some sort of thing. You say, well, I'm joyful, so I get an A. And we say, yes, you do. And then someone else says, well, that must mean that since I'm fearful or angry, that I must get a D or an E. And we say, no, you get an A too. In other words, awareness of the way you feel is powerful and valuable in this class of deliberate creation. And then we say, someone who moves from overwhelmment into hopefulness, we give them 100%. Someone who moves from despair into anger, we give them 100% on the test. In other words, we want you to let your relationship with you be the only thing that matters. It doesn't matter what anybody else is doing or how anybody else is feeling, because they have a whole other set of criteria that you don't have access to. What everybody is feeling, no exception, is the barometer between their vibration of desire and their current state of vibrational attraction. That's what everybody is feeling, you see. And you just cannot compare what anybody else is living to what you're living. But you can say, I was bummed out this morning and I cheered myself up. You can say, I was feeling very irritated and now I feel better. You can say, when I think about this, it makes me feel angry, but I've got myself to the point now that when I think about it, I just feel frustration. In other words, you can control your vibrational offering, which means you can control the way you feel. You've got to leave everybody else out of the equation. You have to come to the point that you don't give a rip what anybody else thinks about where you stand. Because when you factor in their considerations about all of this, you lose your awareness, you lose your proximity, you lose your quantifiable emotional journey.
Okay. But I do have one more question. It's a quickie. I notice in this physical plane, we're at different vibrational ranges, and we've all pretty much established that, right? And my question is, in the non-physical, so I understand what happens in the physical, but in the non-physical, is everybody just vibrating at the same rate?
Well, there is a vibrational variance in non-physical, but it would be not discernible from your physical vantage point.
Okay,
because
so when
the fine-tuning of it is so
well, because it seemed to me like you see very, very young children already at different vibrations. So I was thinking...
Well, they're responding to their environments in different ways.
In different ways. But that's what I'm asking. What is it within, like, my family that I found you and then my sisters didn't, even though we were all brought up in the same family and economic and ethnic environment?
Well, we would
say
very
that different.
The circumstances of your life experience caused you to launch rockets of desires, and the circumstances of your environment caused you to allow those rockets of desires to be satisfied. In other words, wouldn't you say that your lives are different in many ways, not just that way?
Oh, we're very, very, very different. And that's what I don't understand. Like,
Well,
we came in already
Everyone
at
came
different...
intending to feel good, but you're right, and here's what we would assign it to. We would say that different people, for whatever reason and through trial and error, have come to different degrees of willingness to endure discomfort. In other words, if you are surrounded by others who are wanting you to behave in a way that will make them feel better. So they offer very specific criteria. And it is important to you that they appreciate or approve of you. Then you are probably someone that's going to learn to jump through those hoops. And as long as they maintain a consistent expectation, and as long as you are able to consistently please them, then sometimes you lose your own sense of your own vibrational nature by opting to guide yourself by the way it pleases someone else. This is a very common thing. A lot of people do that, you see.
Yeah, but I still don't understand, what is it within me that I was able to venture outside the norm, outside what we were brought up with. And I had the courage, or I call it courage, to branch out and reach out, like for you, and they're still in that fearful, we might go to hell when we die idea.
Even here today, you raised your hand, you expected to be called on because you always are. You take way more than your fair share of time. We're just playing with you about that because you continue to ask a question even though we give you brilliant answers. And what would you say is at the heart of that? Just isolate that right
Desire.
now. I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to understand this. I want to make my life work.
Yes.
You are a teacher to the very core of your being, and you cannot teach what you do not know. And you came into this physical experience knowing all of this, knowing that life is supposed to be good. You know it at every level of your being, and you are determined at all of these levels, even unconscious levels, to find your way there.
But didn't we all come in with that same idea?
Yes, but some of you come with greater intensity. You see,
Okay.
in order for there to be variety and balance, if you all came forth wanting exactly the same thing,
Well, I'm
Esther
not
even
clear
says
on-
that. Esther even says that about Jerry and herself. That if we are from the same non-physical energy, then why do we not want exactly the same thing? And we said, what fun would there be in that? Then there would be only value in one of you being here. But the fact that you are different enough that you play off of one another, so you stimulate energy in ways that could not be stimulated otherwise, and together you attract in ways that are more powerful than either of you could do individually. And so that's the way you are with your families. That's the way you are with everyone. Everyone who you are sharing this planet with is actually your twin flame, in essence, because you all come forth from the same non-physical energy stream. And you said, let's go forth and mix it up and be different enough that we stimulate one another to clarity about what we want, and let's use our guidance system, our guidance that comes forth from within in the form of emotions, to know where we stand. We know there are a lot of people that are not in this moment in a state of joy. But there are a lot of people who are in this moment in a state of joy. There are a lot of people right now who are sick, but there are far, far more who are well. There are people today that are confused. There are far more that have clarity of thought. If you could step back, and if you could furthermore see all the generations that have gone before, you would understand as we do that life is very good here on this planet. And that as you make a decision to find vibrational alignment with that which is good, you will reflect that in your own personal experience. And sometimes people say, but Abraham, it seems wrong, knowing what you know, knowing what Source knows, that anybody should be subjected to anything other than a blissful experience. And we say, there is either free will or there is not. You are either the creator of your own reality or you are not. Not one of you wanted anyone else to create your reality when you came forth. Every one of you knew that you are the creator of your own reality. And so here you are doing just that. We all make too much of all of this. Life is supposed to be fun. And you are worthy beings. And good things are supposed to flow to you and do. And you are the director of the way in which the good things flow. It's not your job to cure your body. Your body takes care of itself. It's not your job to become worthy. You were born worthy and remain worthy.